Hi everyone, my name is Keirsten Hawkins-Moore, and today I'm going to be talking with you all about 10 tips to ensure your success in the upcoming school year. This applies if you're in middle school, high school, or even college. I've utilized these tips all throughout my educational journey, and I found them to be helpful. So I wanted to make sure that I shared these with you all, especially with the upcoming school years getting ready to start. We are now at the end of July. I know some of you are probably starting back school um, at the end of next month, early August, or if any of you are in college, I'm sure that you are already moved in on campus. So I wanted to make sure we set aside some time to just really get prepared and make sure that you all are doing your absolute best. So before we get started, I highly recommend taking out a piece of paper, a pen, if you have a tablet, a cell phone, something that will allow for you to take notes throughout today's session. That'll be great. You will also be able to add some additional commentary, or maybe you may have questions about any of the tips or any recommendations. So feel free to take notes of that, and we will go ahead and get started. My first tip is to develop healthy habits. If I could be transparent with you all, I realized that I was not taking very good care of myself internally as I was going throughout school. I was always making good grades, always punctual for my classes, but it wasn't until maybe my sophomore year of college where I realized the importance of taking care of your health before you do anything. We have to make sure that we are eating right, we are sleeping right, and ultimately just developing those healthy habits to ensure that we're not experiencing any sort of burnout. Another thing is that when you're not taking care of yourself, it can tremendously impact your performance. Meaning, if you're having health issues, you may have to take a couple steps back, ultimately putting you behind in your courses, your coursework. Or, even if you're not taking care of yourself, you may find yourself not performing at your very best. I don't know about any of you, but I've had a lot of situations where I've been so tired that as I'm completing something, I'm just not giving my professors my 100%. So tips to incorporate those healthy habits would include having a balanced meal. I know nowadays consuming caffeine and coffee and all those different things has kind of been the go-to as far as staying awake, but it's been proven that if you have a well-balanced, nutritious meal, you will have all the energy and all the fuelings that you need. Another tip is making sure that you are getting adequate amounts of sleep. I'm not quite sure of the guidelines for sleeping. I want to say you should get roughly about 7 or 8 hours of sleep if you can. That way you want to be well rested, refreshed, rejuvenized, ready to take on whatever it is that you have to do. So that is a part of developing healthy habits. Tip number 2 includes utilizing timers. Sometimes in life, you may find yourself juggling so much all at once, and sometimes this turns into procrastination. So when you utilize a timer, you are holding yourself accountable. You are making sure that you are getting your assignments done. You are prioritizing. And then by using a timer, you're also avoiding that burnout that I talked about in tip number 1. It's kind of easy for us to know that we have something to do and we just drop everything that we're doing to get this one task done. And then you suddenly find yourself working on this same assignment for 3 or 4 hours, which typically that's not the best thing to do. So if you utilize a timer and you tell yourself in advance, okay, I'm going to dedicate X amount of hours to my assignment. That way you can really take on that task and get it done, but you're still bracing yourself and you're not overdoing it. I know that specifically in college, when you receive a syllabus, a lot of professors will tell you this is the amount of time that you can expect to spend each week on your courses to ensure success. So when developing those timers and setting aside, X amount of minutes to work on your assignments, make sure you're gathering all that information, or, even if you're in high school, that first week of school, it's going to be critical. It'll kind of allow for you to understand what your classes are going to be like, the level of difficulty, what type of assignments are you going to have. So just using that as that foundation to develop some sort of schedule, that is an excellent tip to carry along with you all while you're on your educational journey. My next tip is to invest in a planner. In my household, I contain 3 planners. One planner is all of my personal affairs, bills, household things, dinners that I may have to attend. Then my other one is for work, because on my work assignments, I have plenty of things that I have to do all throughout the day, all throughout the week. So I want to make sure, I'm prioritizing, I'm knowing what I have planned, especially before committing to other meetings or engagements, conferences, things of that nature. And then my third planner is literally dedicated to all of my school assignments. Again, a lot of you are going to be starting college or already in college, or even, in middle school and high school. Typically, you receive that syllabus, and that syllabus kind of gives you an overview of major assignments and when things are due. So very similar to tip number 2, tip number 3, having a planner. That is another way to kind of keep track of everything that you have going on. And it also helps avoid having that burnout. And you don't want to overcommit yourself. So when you have that planner, you have everything on there. You can put, and you don't even have to have 3. You don't even have to have 2. One planner is perfectly fine. If you're not super busy person, then maybe one planner or one calendar will work for you. Just make sure you're putting when things are due, what time you have to be there. And another tip I have, let's say you have an assignment that's supposed to be due at midnight. I always set things for 30 minutes prior to, just so that I can avoid being late on anything. So that's another one of my tips. And then while you're investing in that planner and you're working on it, I also enjoy color coding things. So I have different highlighters and different colors that represent different things. So, purple might be my color for work, blue is for school, and then yellow might just be for like personal things. So whatever works best for you and your planner, as long as you understand it, you will do great with the planner. Number 4, stay motivated. We have been experiencing some very trying times within our country, all around the world. So these days, it's pretty easy to kind of get off track and lose your motivation. However, staying motivated is what will keep you on your P's and Q's and continuously ensure your success. My ways of staying motivated, I am a fan of utilizing Pinterest boards where I can make mood boards. I am constantly on there finding some positive quotes, quotes about you go girl, you'll get the job done, anything that speaks out to you that helps you stay grounded and keeps you motivated. Or even if any of you have a religious background, I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ. So a lot of time I rely on the scripture to keep me motivated and to keep me pushing. So, find what it is that keeps you motivated and keeps you grounded. It's also important to, make sure you surround yourself with other people that'll keep you motivated, which leads me into tip number 5. In life, you will realize that not everybody is there for you or they're on the same page, that they have the same mindset as you. So it is so important to find your circle of people that will support you along the way, that will hold you accountable, that will be proud of you, that will celebrate your successes, that will help you learn from your losses. It's so critical to identify those individuals all throughout life. So this might be your friends, your family members, some of your peers. I know in college, I have joined different organizations that represent the fields that I am in. And so being around other individuals with common goals, this allows for us to share different ideas and keep each other on track. Tip number 6 is to be mindful of social media posts. Social media is a wonderful thing. It comes with, I'm sure, more advantages than disadvantages. However, we still have to be mindful of the power of social media. Um, I know social media has been utilized for socializing with friends, especially in the midst of this pandemic. We've been locked down. We haven't been able to congregate with each other and, do all that we are wanting to do. So we've had to kind of rely on the use of social media, Twitter, Facebook, even LinkedIn or Zoom meetings. I know right now, even this conversation is taking place on video. But with that being said, because social media connects you with people, it is also a reflection and a representation of who you are. These days, like I said, employers are utilizing social media to look for possible employees. Even if you're maybe applying for scholarships, anything, you want to make sure that you are representing yourself in a positive manner at all times. Unfortunately, if a potential employer or a scholarship donor or anything or anybody that is like that, if they were to see anything negative on social media, this could block opportunities for you. So, you just want to make sure that you are always holding yourself accountable and representing yourself properly. I know it's social media. It's kind of like we're in a time where people are so quick to just upload and post things and not really think too much about it. But I've heard of numerous cases where potential employers have even, looked up old social media posts from, 5-6 years ago. And, even though that may not be a current reflection, because it's out there and because all these people can see it, you just have to be really, really careful. Tip number 7, get involved. I know I just talked about being involved in organizations, but school, whether you're in school, college, wherever you are, make sure you join organizations that align with your future goals. So, if you are going into STEM, maybe you should look up joining a STEM organization. Another group of individuals that have common goals that can, keep you on track and continuously notify you of other opportunities. And that also looks great to other, employers, scholarship donors, even when you're applying for colleges. Knowing that you had involvement, this really shows that you were serious and you were dedicated to your journey and all that it is that you were trying to do. Another thing included in involvement would be making sure that you volunteer. Community service is so important, and it really shows selflessness. It shows that even though you have to take care of yourself, you are still willing to put, others' needs above your own. So it's so good to give back to your community and take care of others around you. So, with Harvest Girls International, there's volunteer opportunities. You can check with your church, other local organizations, places like the Red Cross. I know we have like the Expo coming up, fairs. Just making sure you have like that sort of reputation and you have that good face in the community. You never know what type of networking and opportunities that can create for you in the future. Number 8, make a schedule. This is all relative to tips number 2 and 3 about having a planner and setting timers. So, just make sure you have a schedule. For me, I've found it to be a lot easier to have a schedule that is very deep and detailed. I've got it even down to the point where, let's say I have to travel somewhere that's maybe a 25 or 30 minute commute. I always put that in my schedule just so that I'm not overcommitting myself. Or, I don't like if I commit to something and then I have to, back out of it because I didn't plan properly. So always make sure you're on a schedule. I know some of you are likely working jobs right now or even thinking about starting your first job. And so, you're going to have a schedule with work. So you'll have to learn how to juggle all of that and all that you have going on within that schedule to make sure that you're successful. Tip number 9 is make time for yourself. I always tell people it seems like we don't have enough hours in the day, um, but you have to take care of you. Um, I can't express the importance of taking care of yourself before you do anything. So I always recommend, even if you have a busy schedule, if you can dedicate at least one evening to yourself or one day out of the week to where, you don't have to necessarily do much. Sometimes you could treat yourself to a coffee, take yourself to lunch, go on a walk, meditate, do some yoga, do some exercising, something that will allow for you to really touch base with yourself and be in tune. I've had plenty of situations where, because I was so busy, I was ignoring things that I had going on with myself. I was like, I got to get this done. I got to do that. I got to be here. I got to be there. I got to call this person. And ultimately, I wasn't doing much but harming myself in a sense, because I was getting burnt out. I was going through stress, depression, anxiety, all of that. So when you have that time, spend time with yourself. Sometimes this means setting those boundaries. I know a lot of cell phones have the option to utilize that do not disturb feature. Or sometimes that means just turning your phone off. If you're a very social person, let's say you have friends that you talk to on a regular basis, they should be able to understand if you say, hey, today I'm going to take some time for myself. I'm going to turn my phone off. I will touch base when I can. Whatever it is that you have to do, just make sure that you are putting you first, because at the end of the day, you are the only person that can really take care of you. Only you understand what you have going on. Everybody else, they might think that they know what's going on with you, but ultimately, you are responsible for yourself. So take that time. Take that break. And number 10, last but not least, most importantly, remember the end goal. This kind of ties into that tip about staying motivated, but sometimes you just have to remind yourself, things do not happen overnight, but it is all a part of the process. If I'm being honest and transparent with you all, it is quite easy to get discouraged. If I can get a little personal, last year when I completed my master's program, I was excited that I was graduating, but along the way, I had to face a couple of issues. I didn't get to graduate as early as I wanted to because, the pandemic happened. I couldn't really do my research project because I didn't have, in-person meetings like I needed to in order to ensure that my project was completed. It just kind of threw me off. And I was a little disappointed because I was seeing all these other individuals that I started with. They were graduating, they were already starting their careers. And, for me, I was just really upset because I felt like, that should have been me graduating early. But in order to really avoid getting upset, I remembered the end goal. Everything happens for a reason. So literally in that amount of time where I was still having to, wait a little longer to graduate, that allowed for me to dive a little deeper into my project, learn additional things about my field. And ultimately, I realized that it was all a part of the purpose, because if I didn't have that period of time, I can't quite say that I would be where I am. So always remember what it is that you are set out to do. Remember that it all does not happen overnight. Life is a journey and it's on purpose. Things take time and you're going to experience different situations for a reason, whether that's to gain knowledge, wisdom, anything that you do, it's all a part of the plan. So remember your end goal, stay motivated. And those are the 10 tips that I have to ensure success in the upcoming school year. So best of wishes to all of you. We thank you so much for being a part of Harvest Girls International. I will be available for any questions or additional commentary on today's session. Again, my name is Keirsten Hawkins-Moore, and I look forward to talking with you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.